Ethereum currently sitting around the $3,500 mark. Are we going to make a break towards $4,000, or is there a potential dump coming down towards $3,100? Make sure you stick around to the end of this video to be updated with the latest happening in Ethereum. Hello guys, and welcome to the latest Ethereum update. In today's episode, we're going to look at Ethereum potentially being able to flip Bitcoin in the future. Is it possible? What does it mean for Ethereum if it does? As well as the other latest Ethereum news. Welcome to the House of Crypto. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button on the way in to be kept up to date with all things Ethereum. New to the House of Crypto, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button to be kept up to date with all things Ethereum, Bitcoin, as well as other cryptocurrencies. Without further ado then, let's jump into our first piece of Ethereum news for today. Okay, so more and more hype we're seeing coming through about Ethereum at the moment, and this is a very positive thing. A lot of people are starting to learn about Ethereum that may have never heard of it before, and we're seeing more and more money coming into the market. A lot of Ethereum is being taken off of platforms, and there's a lot of hype in the news, which I've warned about in the past being maybe something we should be a bit cautious about, but actually in the moment it's doing a good thing about making everyone more aware of Ethereum and really what it is and how it can benefit many people. Okay, so over here on Yahoo Finance, crypto analyst who nailed Ethereum's climb to $3,400 says $10,000 is next. And a lot of you are already believing that we're going to get towards $10,000. Do you believe it's going to hit $10,000 this year? Make sure you leave a comment down below to let me know where you think Ethereum is headed. Okay, so this guy is saying back in January, when it was around $1,200, he made the call that around the mid $3,000 levels. Okay, so saying that it was being overlooked by investors. But as I've mentioned, because a lot of news is coming about, people are this is getting less and less likely. A lot more investors are learning about it, and it's still, like a cheaper alternative to get into than Bitcoin. A lot of people want to have a whole coin of Bitcoin, $50,000 plus is quite unachievable for many people. Whereas, many people looking at $3,000, $3,500, which is getting more expensive all the time, still might be something that many people can afford and would like to get involved in that. Obviously, we know that you can buy parts of coins, but many people who are new to the markets don't know that. Okay, so it says here that him, as well as Megan Casper, co-founder of the digital asset investment company Magnetic, are upping their price targets to $8,000 to $10,000 by the year end. As you know with trading, once we break through certain parts, then we're obviously going to be speculating as to what potential is there out there. Obviously, to go from $3,500 up towards $10,000 has to do like a 2.5x from here. Bearing in mind the market cap size, the amount of money that needs to flow into Ethereum for that to happen is obviously enormous. Bearing in mind all the use cases that Ethereum has in the DeFi world, as well as NFTs, etc. And, with coming upgrades in the summer, they're going to make it from inflationary to disinflationary, as well as other things. It's looking really, really solid in my opinion. And we'll come to the charts in a minute to look at where we're kind of headed in the sort of a shorter term period, but this is more sort of further down the line. Jumping over to this next piece over on Money Morning, why a 2021 Ethereum price prediction of $10,000 isn't crazy. This again, another story backing up a similar sentiment to what we've just been hearing about there. And as we move up to the sort of $3,500 level, a couple of weeks ago when we were around $2,000, to be looking at $5,000 might be sort of seen as kind of gross speculation, but actually as it continues to move up, it gains momentum. More and more people hear about it. More and more people start to gain faith in these kind of predictions. As people predict things and they actually come true, then people are getting more and more positive about it. That said, obviously when you hear predictions, some of them may come true, some of them might not come true. So a disclaimer is never to invest more money than you can afford to lose, as well as always doing your own research. There's a lot of information out there available to you, but don't get kind of caught up in all of this kind of crazy hype. As exciting and interesting as it is, it can be very dangerous. And think back to 2017 when Bitcoin went to sort of $20,000 and then it crashed really hard. I'm not saying it's going to happen to Ethereum, but be aware that these things can happen. Okay, so it's this part down here which I want to bring your attention to, because it's going to lead me into the next piece of news. Why the Ethereum price is soaring. To understand how Ethereum became the focal point of the hottest trends in crypto, you have to know why this cryptocurrency was created. The creators of Ethereum, led by Wunderkind, Vitalik Buterin, sought to make a cryptocurrency that could do more than Bitcoin could. So it's that key point that I want to bring you over to the Bitcoinist, and it's talking about the day that Ethereum beats Bitcoin is the flippening coming. The moment the Bitcoin market cap is something around $1 trillion, with Ethereum, being significantly less than that. But as Ethereum gains momentum, and we'll look at the Ethereum US dollar chart and the Ethereum Bitcoin chart more importantly in just a moment, and we'll see how a potential move like this might happen. Okay, so Ethereum's time to shine. The smart contracts pioneer is doing so well that the flippening narrative returned with a vengeance. The flippening refers to the hypothetical time when ETH's market capitalization surpasses that of Bitcoin. So obviously Bitcoin is very solid, it's digital gold, and it hasn't had the requirement to kind of change and do different things. It's the most decentralized cryptocurrency available, and working as a sort of a digital gold asset, it does its job really well. But as we see down below here, Ethereum's ETFs recently approved in Canada. All of the kind of things that happened to Bitcoin that made it what it is are now happening to Ethereum as well. But Ethereum has all these use cases as well, which is what's drawing people's attention. Bearing in mind that Ethereum came into the market a lot later than Bitcoin, it's had a lot less time to gain the market share, but it's pulling away the market share from Bitcoin all the time. I think the flippening is now inevitable, but I think it will be incredibly temporary. I think you'll have a massive blow off top, and ETH's blow off top will be slightly before or slightly after Bitcoin's blow off top, and it will temporarily flippen. Okay, so what does that mean? Maybe you see a huge spike up in the price of Ethereum, and perhaps Bitcoin's already dropped, and then you might see Ethereum kind of have a blow off top. The way when markets move so aggressively like this and money pours in, they do become more and more volatile, and this is something we should be more aware of. As the prices are surging up and we think we're all going to get rich, be very aware that they can come crashing down just as fast, if not faster. And so most of the growth will take sort of a few months to accumulate, but it can come crashing down in the space of a week or less. Okay, so it's obviously very volatile and something that we should always be aware of. Okay, so without further ado then, let's jump over to the Ethereum US dollar chart. This is looking at the 1 hour chart on Ethereum, and as we've seen, we've been moving up through this channel for a period of time, creating patterns within it, sort of the diamond pattern that we noticed the other day. And what we can see now is we are actually literally smack in the middle of this pattern at the moment. Now this typically is a bearish pattern, but that doesn't mean necessarily that it's going to break out to the downside, but it's something that we should be aware of happening. Now what I want to draw your attention to is these two lines here. Okay, so the lower resistance level, if it comes down to here and it can find support at this level, then we might see a bounce to the upside. But bearing in mind we're moving towards the end of this wedge now, it's consolidated, there must be a move in either direction soon, and it's something that we should be aware of. If it is to break to the downside, as per, we would like to see it break, perhaps come up to a similar level here where it would find resistance before moving down, and it would typically come to around the start of this pattern here, which you might take from around the $3,092 level, which might sound very scary, but bearing in mind that in the space of about a week or less, we've come sort of above and beyond that point. So it wouldn't be sort of necessarily a hugely bad thing for it to come crashing down, and may provide us with a great buying opportunity. In terms of where we might find support, there's no guarantee that it will come down exactly to this kind of level here, but there's obviously lines of resistance and support coming up through where you might find that it actually consolidates lower and then maybe bounces back to the upside. But that's something to be aware of. Now, as I mentioned, there's no guarantee that it's going to go all the way to the downside. It may take a bounce, or we may continue. We are looking in the last this is on the hourly chart. We have been holding on this moving average here, and if we do hold on this moving average, we can move up to the upside. Obviously, we break out, potentially look for a retest. This doesn't always happen, but it usually, most of the time, it does happen. And then this is when we would look to enter our trade. Okay, so maybe it might even just wick down inside this for a moment before moving to the upside. And then in terms of a price target for that, then we would take the height of our wedge, and we would move that all the way up to here, potentially around where it would be breaking out. And as you can see, that pushes us all the way up to the $4,036 level. Now obviously if we go back to around the $3,000 level, which was here, we did actually kind of come up through it, and then we spiked down pretty hard. So bearing in mind that $4,000 again is like a big round number that many people might have as a target in place. So be aware that maybe people will be selling off once you get towards the $4,000 level. So it's always worth taking profits, in my opinion, as you go up, because you never know whether it's going to come back against you. And moving, once you've if you're in leverage trades, moving your stop loss into profit as you go, never be losing. You might you might end up missing out on a bit more profit than you could have taken, but not losing is basically the key. Okay, so coming over to the ETH Bitcoin chart, as you can see here, we had this rising pattern, which is very similar to what we see on the Ethereum US dollar. And as I mentioned, you know, this is typically a bearish structure, but as you can see, it broke to the upside, disproving that it is always bearish. Okay, so nothing in the markets is ever guaranteed, always something we should be aware of. This is on the weekly chart, and as you can see, previously this area that we're in at the moment was a significant line of here it provided good support, and up here as well it provided support, so it's likely that we'll see a good deal of resistance happening around this area. And if we do see an area of resistance, like today, we're currently down 1%, we could see Bitcoin climbing higher. It doesn't necessarily mean that Ethereum is going to go down, but maybe we will see Ethereum slowing up. Once Bitcoin tends to slow down, then we tend to see Ethereum doing better as Bitcoin is consolidating. So that's something to be aware of. In my opinion, I think in the next 3 to 4 hours, we're likely to see a big move, so I'm going to be watching it very closely to see exactly when I need to take my trade. As I've mentioned, it could go up and it could go down, and I know people are going to get really sad about that, but you need to look at what's happening in those charts. If it breaks through that resistance line on top, then in my opinion, it's a good longing opportunity, and if it breaks through that one below, it's a good shorting opportunity. So we need to wait and see what the chart tells us to do right this second. It's a little bit early, and therefore it's risky to put in speculative trades. Paying attention to what happens as time continues is always worth doing, and things, as we know, can move very quickly, and once it breaks out in either direction, it's going to move very quickly, especially after it consolidates. It's been consolidating for a good few days now in that sort of range between the $3,200 and the $3,600 level. Guys, hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please hit that like button. It really helps me to get this content out to more people. And if you're new to the channel and you're an Ethereum holder, then make sure you hit that subscribe button to be kept up to date with all of the latest Ethereum chart analysis as well as Ethereum news. Thanks very much for watching, and I will see you again tomorrow with another video. Bye bye.